This is a PIX11 special, NYPD on the record, with Interim Police Commissioner Tom Donlon and the agency's top brass.
Thank you for joining us for this PIX11 special, NYPD on the record. I'm Nicole Johnson. After a major shakeup and talks about more changes to come, we go in depth with NYPD brass. But first, an exclusive sit-down interview with Interim Police Commissioner Tom Donlon to get a sense of his focus and his mission.
I do hereby pledge and declare.
Hereby pledge and declare.
He was sworn in amid scandal. Former top cop Edward Caban out. Tom Donlon in, but just a week into his tenure, the feds came knocking. Commissioner, let's get right to it. You are the subject of a federal investigation and you run the largest police department in the country. How are you managing both? Are you distracted?
Number one, I'm not distracted. My case, I have hired outside counsel, and I'm at liberty to speak about the investigation, but I'm fully confident that things will, definitely work out in my favor. But it doesn't distract me from my daily routine as a police commissioner. I stay focused on what I need to do. Talk about your workflow
when you're down there at one police plaza. What type of commissioner are you? Are you hands-on or hands-off?
I've always been hands-on. Prior law enforcement experience with the New York State, Homeland Security, the FBI. I worked in the task force for many years in the corporate world. I'm hands-on. I don't, the word they use, micromanage. I don't micromanage, but I need to know what, is taking place, how investigations are being handled. And the reason for that is that, I have a wealth of experience and knowledge that I can provide to the investigators or the bosses. I'm not always right about things, but it gives them an opportunity to, for me to exchange my experiences with them, and I think that helps quite a bit, and it's a two-way street.
You've been interim police commissioner for a little more than a month now.
Right.
Talk about any learning lessons. What's your assessment of the department?
I've always been a big fan of the NYPD. My father worked for the police department. He was a carpenter for the NYPD, and he's an immigrant along with my mother. And my father, when he was with the carpenters department, the PD, he used to take me to the various precincts throughout the 5 boroughs. And I remember him telling me that I want you to meet good people, nice people. I want you to, engage with them, and they'll, they lead by example. And that was that's what attracted me to law enforcement in many ways. And a lot of those people became mentors of mine. Anything
you think the department could change at this point?
Well, it's too early to say right now. I'm speaking with the chief of the department and all the different chiefs to understand the programs, and it wouldn't make sense for anyone to come in and change something without fully understanding.
Commissioner, I've covered crime in this city for many years. I cover the NYPD and justices in the city, and I'm listening to New Yorkers out there, and they're really concerned about crime.
Right.
The numbers are one thing, perception is another, and folks are really talking about transit crime.
One thing about transit crime has gone down in the subway system, and that's due to Chief Kemper and the other chiefs that supported him, throughout the last few years. And of course, the mayor, his big issue is public safety, and he's focused on the criminal activity in the subway system, transit system. You have the big investigations, whether it's the migrant or terrorism investigations, but I think it's the quality of life issues that affect the public on a daily basis. And they voice their opinions to me, and I take it seriously, and I think that's important that we try to address that.
What do you want them to know as far as their public safety?
We're trying to help them and assist them, and as I mentioned before, I like to meet with the public and ask them their opinion, and I think that gives them a sense of security and safety, that they know that, that myself as a police commissioner, we're aware of your needs and any issues you may have.
Commissioner, you're from the Bronx. We were talking earlier. Born and raised in the Bronx. Talk a little bit about your upbringing in that borough.
Well, as I mentioned, my Both my parents are immigrants. I come from a family of 4 brothers and 2 sisters. 2 of my brothers were with the fire department. They both retired recently, and my mother was a nurse, and my 2 sisters were nurses. So we have, you know, service-minded positions where that was always expressed by my mother and father. You have to give back in many ways. And I still go back to the old neighborhood sometimes.
How often do you get back there?
I go back there once every few weeks. There's still a number of people that still live there, folks that I knew from my early days, and it's nice to go back and meet with them and just reminisce.
Very important to engage with the community.
Right.
You have a vast executive team.
Right.
Do they lean on you or do you lean on them?
It goes both ways. You know, I rely on their experience and knowledge, and I don't operate in a vacuum. I like to hear people's opinions. What direction do we need to take an investigation or handle a personal matter? So, and I take pride in the fact that I don't have a quick reaction to whether it's criminal, terrorism, or personal matters, that it's fully discussed among the team. And that's how I grew up in law enforcement, being on the terrorist task force. It was always about the team, working together, and you just can't operate by yourself. You have to rely on folks that have the knowledge that can help you to be a better police commissioner in my world. But it's very, very important.
When we come back,
there's allegations of corruption within the NYPD. How are you handling it?
our candid conversation continues with the interim police commissioner and the department's leadership team, including Acting Chief of Staff and Deputy Commissioner of Public Information Tarik Sheppard. And nothing is off the table. This is a PIX11 special, NYPD on the record.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Chief of Patrol John Chell, Deputy Commissioner of Public Information Tarik Sheppard, Deputy Commissioner of Operations Daughtry, and Interim Police Commissioner Tom Donlon. Thank you so much. We have lots of questions to get to. The first one I want to get off is there's allegations of corruption within the NYPD. You can't crime fight and deal with allegations without being distracted. At least that's what some New Yorkers believe. How are you handling it?
These are friends of ours, colleagues, but there's no time out, there's no days off. The city moves 365 days a year. And if you look at the last couple months, we haven't missed a beat.
Sheppard?
As the chief said, we have a lot of work to do. New Yorkers deserve for us to be at our best, so that we don't have time to be distracted. This is what we do, whether it's emergencies that happen in the city or it's an investigation that's ongoing right now. We deal with all of those events, but still are able to keep New York City safe. Talk
about morale. You talk about the officers. How's morale when they're seeing so much change happening?
The morale is very good. You know, the cops every day put on their gun belt. Our detectives go out every day, and they do their job. And the locker room, if you will, is in a good place. The unions are happy with what we are doing. So morale is good. We're going to close out this year very well. And the cops are carrying the city. Our detectives are carrying the city. And they're doing a great job. So morale's in a good place. And we're preparing for 2025.
Yeah, man, and I'm going to just add to that, John, that you know, I lead a lot of these operations throughout the city, and I get to speak to the officers every single day when I'm out there. Out there last night, the night before, going out there again. And to them, it's business as usual. I don't even think that they even know, like, really what's going on, and as far as these the corruption investigations and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, we still have a job to do. We got to do what's best for New Yorkers and what's best for the agency, and to keep moving this department forward.
Talk about this executive team. You guys have decades of experience. You're out there. You've been in the NYPD. You've seen so many changes. There's a lot going on now. Describe the state of the NYPD right now.
Well, I think you see it. We're on unprecedented times with changing laws we've got to deal with. Since 2022, when the whole world changed, the numbers changed, right? 225,000 migrants that the city's done a good job in handling. But this team of decades, we are professionals, we have a good resume, and the most important part is we're all friends, but we challenge each other. And when we challenge each other, it just makes us better. So very proud of the team, and I think the body of work speaks for itself.
We come in, we get in that war room together, we work together, and we make sure that the end product is something that New Yorkers can be proud of.
Let's talk about that crime reduction. Overall crime down about 2% year to date. Excellent progress. Daughtry sent me the graphic to prove the numbers, but the numbers are one thing. Feeling something different. We're out there reporting, we're out in transit. I'm out in Brownsville, Harlem, the Bronx, and people still are edgy, not feeling safe. How do you tackle that perception?
Well, perception comes down to the quality of life issues that the community complains about. So the #1 complaint for the last couple of years was mopeds, scooters, and bikes. We've taken over 74,000. That is not easy. The second biggest complaint was smoke shops. We shut down 1,200 smoke shops. Transit. We are encountering more people in transit and putting them into shelters. Transit crime itself, big perception piece. We're up 48% in crime in January. We're down 7% now. Huge turnaround. Roosevelt Avenue, which Commissioner Daughtry is spearheading right now. So those are the perception pieces that I think we're turning the page on. We're responding to what the community is asking, and we're doing it full force.
Still ahead,
But now we're going into the holiday season. Roosevelt Avenue.
a battle on Roosevelt Avenue. Sex workers pushing back as the NYPD cracks down. We're talking about it coming up.
For years, PIX11 has been reporting on alleged sex trafficking along Roosevelt Avenue in Queens. Recently, the NYPD launched a multi-agency task force to crack down on illegal activity in the so-called red light district. You talk about quality of life, Roosevelt Avenue. We were out there, major crackdown, shutdown of massage parlors, but they come right back. The complaint now is that some of the victims of sex trafficking are being treated more like criminals and they're not getting resources.
Yeah,
what do you say to that?
And I heard that, I did read a couple of articles in regards to it was a press conference and sort of a rally on 104th Street and Roosevelt Avenue. And I invite those groups that held that press conference to come with me, come walk with me, walk down Roosevelt Avenue and talk to the families, talk to the business district. No parent wants to see, as they're taking their kid to school, see females scantily clad, scantily dressed on a corner, soliciting their husband for sex. Nobody wants to see that. We are committed to restoring Roosevelt Avenue to the way it was pre-pandemic and to the way it was when they first initiated Roosevelt Avenue.
We've seen migrant crime. We've also seen gang activity within the migrant community. And then it quieted down for a minute, Chief. Do we have a gang problem with migrants, and how are you dealing with it to keep New Yorkers safe?
All right, so migrant crime. Is it affecting our numbers? Absolutely it is. But as we said time and time again, it's a small number of migrants, not to paint the picture that it's all migrants. So we always say that. In terms of, we're talking about TDA, Tren de Agua, that's what we're asking. Are they hurting us throughout most of the city? Yes, they are. Are they all over Times Square every day robbing people? No, they're not. So I want to just kind of say yes, we take them very seriously. Our intel reports tell us they're into extortion, guns, pink cocaine called Tussie. You've heard that before. You've seen the videos on mopeds. And look, they shot 2 of our cops in Queens. A TDA member on a moped from a shelter in Queens shot 2 of our cops.
How are you getting ahead of them?
By doing shows just like this, to get the proper narrative out, give some numerical numbers. But we live this every day, this team. We know exactly what's going on. We know who we're dealing with. And our detective bureau, like any other gang they've shut down in the last 10+ years, are using the same approach with our federal partners or local DAs. They will be dealt with. Our detective bureau is the best in the world, and they'll be treated accordingly.
Yeah, Nick, I don't want to glorify TDA or any other gang in the city. They're not intimidating to the NYPD, and they're not going to intimidate people in this city. The bottom line is that when we put our resources together with our state and federal partners, they'll be going in handcuffs just like the rest of the gangs that we've had in the city. They will lose, and so my suggestion to them is find another place to go. because it's not going to work.
I've been out visiting the community since I arrived here, and they want to help you. They want to provide information to you, and you go out to different sectors of the community, and they enjoy seeing the NYPD. They enjoy meeting us and us listening to them what the issues are.
Community policing, neighborhood policing, these are strategies and programs you guys have worked on over the years. What new strategies are you working on, particularly gearing towards young people and keeping them on the right path?
I don't think it has to be new. I just think we have to continue to build on a lot of the things that we are doing. I mean, you have Commissioner Stewart and Community Affairs out there teaching young people how to fly planes. You have them out there teaching them about water safety, how to understand riptides so they don't lose their life at a beach. You have them out there teaching them how to do resumes, how to learn how to balance, their books for their money when they go to school, how does credit card debt work. We're doing everything we can, including sports, golf, you name it, to try and keep kids off the street, de-escalation, putting them through scenarios to deal with the situations that they face in their own neighborhoods. We can't save everybody. There's some youth that's going to be determined to do bad things, and they have to suffer consequences for those.
Don't touch me. Put it down. 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 Shoot. Put the knife down.
A controversial police shooting sparks community outrage.
This is what we talking about, $2.90?
This was not over fare evasion. This is over someone armed with a deadly weapon.
More details on the record next.
The department has been criticized for an incident in Brooklyn, police-involved shooting. There was a gentleman who did not pay the fare. Police engaged with him, and officers opened fire in a crowded subway. 2 innocent bystanders were hit, and an officer was hit. Did you go back and look at what went wrong in that incident and reassessed any training? Taser didn't work. What's going on as far as taking a look at that?
So every time we have a police-involved shooting, we go back and we do a wholesome look at what could we do better. We're always looking to be better. But just to bring it back, the narrative, this was not over fare evasion. This is over someone armed with a deadly weapon. Mind you, a person that the cops did a good job the first time and asked him to leave. The second time, you saw it, drop the knife dozens of times, close quarters, trains are coming, 8-foot platform, trying to get people to train as a person has an open knife on the train within a very close distance. You know, they did the best they could.
Let's talk about tasers. And most of our taser discharges, which that's around 70% of the time. Somewhere in the high 60s, somewhere in the low 70s, but I'll say let's use 70%. The tasers we consider to be effective. There are many reasons why a taser can be ineffective. Sometimes it's the amount of layers of clothes. Sometimes the person can fight through pain. Sometimes it's an insufficient area that the prongs were deployed. There's many more reasons why. However, we should not be bringing tasers up into the conversation when we're talking deadly weapons. Tasers were never designed to equate with guns and knives. Tasers are basically the same level of force as using pepper spray. All right? They are not designed to deal with deadly force.
The work of the NYPD is constantly evolving. We will continue asking questions about what concerns every New Yorker. Public safety. Thank you for joining us for this PIX11 special, NYPD on the Record. I'm Nicole Johnson.